Hey,
Hey,
wie war der Spaziergang?
okay, cooles Fahrrad. Arbeitest du morgen?
Ich arbeite nur 75%.
There's something to be said about those really quiet stories, the ones that move along without any drama or over the top moments, but still manage to capture the essence and the beauty of a relationship. And that's what this piece does. I thought it was so great because meaningful relationships are ones that are made up of small moments and little things that build on one another. And you could see that here. You could see how much she cares for Frida despite there not being any verbose language or even a lot of dialogue. And I really appreciated that. I thought this piece was so moving and it was just fantastic.
I really loved that you guys told this super strong story, but didn't rely on telling it through just dialogue. Like, I thought there was a really good balance of, more visual cues versus, spoken words. And what was really interesting about this story was the way you kind of had to read between the lines. Because a lot of the conversations wasn't really about, them being in love, but you kind of had to read between the lines and catch those visual cues that kind of created this really interesting love story.
What was really interesting, what I really liked about the writing, it was just so minimal. And, it was like the actors and the director and the writer were all in sync on this, and that the actors were never playing anything that were in the lines. It was very obvious. There was nothing really said in this movie between these two women that was overtly romantic, but it's like you could tell that they were in love, and it was played beautifully and just executed very nicely.
This was hard to watch. Um, it just hit a lot of personal buttons. Um, so it was really tough to watch, which means you made a beautiful movie. Um, I was very moved by this. Very, very moved. Um, it's beautifully done. It's so subtle. There's so much subtext in the writing, in the interpretation by these beautiful actresses, um, in the direction. It's just very, very well thought out. It's very thoughtful. It's really elegant. Important topics and themes. And yeah, it's really it's beautiful. Um, it's also edited really well, by the way. It's very clean. The editing is really it suits the storytelling and the pace of the film.
There was something really lovely about the languid pace of the piece. And I also really appreciated the sparseness or sterility of the hospital location, which was a really interesting place for a love story. Whether it's some sort of love, whether it's romantic or it's just a deep caring. I don't know if we're ever fully told directly, which I appreciated also from the piece. Um, but the contrast of what we typically attribute to um, a, a romantic piece, were stripped of. So you only get to focus on that chemistry and that connection between the patient and nurse, and it made it so much more palpable to be in a location that's traditionally cold, that's traditionally transitory. You're only supposed to be in and out. Hopefully, you leave healthy, but um, you also it really mimics how people come into our life. One moment they're there, and the next they're gone, and their magnetism really broke through it.
I really loved how they showed through all of these different like little things and like how she was like taking care of her, and then over such a period of time that like they really did a good job of showing that it wasn't just like one day, that this had obviously built, and this relationship, this tenderness, this care, it had taken place over like, a period of time, and so they did a good job of showing that, and then how through all of those little things, how much it had built, how much it was tender and care and love to a certain degree, and I really liked how they did that, how they didn't make it overt, they let it just show its they let the feelings show through the actions.